to talk today a bit about chemistry and the narrow criteria singles apply to meeting people. Now, I find this with all age groups, but I find it particularly in the older age singles, right? What happens is people have come out of a long-term relationship where it hasn't worked, and they don't want to make the same mistake the second time around. So they put a high level of value on chemistry and having someone that has the same interests in them. But what they end up doing is really narrowing the people that they can date. So I want to talk about that. Chemistry is very important when it comes to a relationship. You have to be attracted to someone you're going to date, otherwise what's the point? However, what I find singles do, especially the second time around, is they're looking for a level 10 when it comes to chemistry. Yet they're willing to accept a level 2, 3, 4 or 5 when it comes to compatibility. Now, you need chemistry and compatibility, okay? And what happens with chemistry, it's proven that chemistry lasts, anywhere from a few months to 3 years. And when that wears off, it's like waking up and you're no longer under the influence anymore and you've got a hangover and you wake up with this person, and why the effects of chemistry are no longer there, you wonder how the hell you ended up with the person that you did, because you've got such a low level of compatibility. Now, people often get confused about compatibility as well, especially when it comes to the second time around. They'll look at compatibility as being, you've got to have the same interests. Well, especially if they've been married to someone who didn't share their interests and who they had a lot of conflict. Now, interests aren't as important as values. Compatibility comes from if you and I share the same values as each other. That's what makes long-lasting relationships, right? So values come around, what we think about money, what we think about lifestyle, what we think about family. And if we have mismatches there, that's what pulls relationships apart when you're no longer under the influence of chemistry. Now, chemistry is proven to shut down the critical thinking part of your brain that is related to judgment about the other person. So it's no wonder that people find themselves in the situations they do. That's why I recommend, instead of going for a 10 in chemistry, dial that down. Go for a 7 or 8 in chemistry and dial up the compatibility. Go for an 8, 9 or 10. That will create a longer lasting, happier relationship. And I do want to say, and I've found this quite a lot, people set these narrow criteria about what they want in another person, particularly when it comes to online dating. And I want to explain a situation. I write profiles for people and, they give me a lot of details, but whatever I put in their profile needs to appeal to the person they're going to meet. And what I do find is men particularly want to see whether they can fit into the woman's life, whether they are able to make her happy, particularly if they haven't been able to make someone happy the last time around. So they'll look at some of those factors. So I had a client years ago that she had traveled to a lot of countries, and I've done the same thing, right? But she traveled to a lot of countries, and travel was important to her, but she'd done a lot of travel. It wasn't as much of a big deal. Now, she didn't meet the guy that she was with online. She met him face to face, where there was less judgment and less narrow criteria. And he actually said that he wouldn't have chosen her online if he'd have seen how much she was traveling, because he just didn't feel he was the person that would make her happy. The reality is they couldn't be happier, but that little fact, if he'd have met her online, would have totally put him off. So that's why it's interesting sometimes what we put in our profiles and how easily, and I see it all the time with online dating, with face-to-face events, even when people meet in the real world, but it's less likely to happen there because people are more likely to not, you'll have a conversation, 93% of the impression that we get from someone is not based on what they say. You don't get that when you meet someone online, or even, you know, you can get that a little bit of event at an event, but sometimes you're still stuck in that judgmental, looking for chemistry that's going to knock you, you know, off your socks, or however you say that, rather than giving people a go. And look, with chemistry, chemistry can and does grow. The whole myth of instant chemistry comes from romantic movies and Disney movies. Now, every Disney fact, random fact, every Disney movie, they fell in love at first sight. Now, that happens occasionally in the real world, not very often, okay? So sometimes we have that fantasy in our head. And I'm telling you, do you know how many dates it takes for a woman to know whether she's in love or not? Okay, it's more than you think. It's around 14 dates, whereas it takes the average guy around 3 dates to know if he wants a relationship with a guy. Girl, unless you go. So sometimes we're too quick to rule people in and out, and we're looking for instant chemistry, which is often not the best indicator of whether a relationship will work or not. So widen your net, give people more of a chance. Get to know and like them before you rule them out. Obviously, there are going to be people that you rule out. You know, there's some people you meet that are just going to be a definite no. But I keep saying this one, people can and are surprising when you get to know them. There are countless stories of people that have come to my event and they've met the same person. It's probably taken them 4 times to say yes to someone, because to keep ourselves safe is sometimes easier to say no rather than yes. No one wants to hurt anyone else. No one wants to waste any time. But when we take that approach, we really do not get to know people, or even give ourselves time to give people a chance. So my advice is lower down the chemistry, dial up the compatibility, be open to people, get to know them, give them a chance, and you never know what will happen. And I'm telling you, I meet so many amazing singles, so don't feel like there's a lack out there. There are so many amazing people looking for a relationship. If that's what you want, you'll find it. Now, I finished with that. I want to say we've got Rottnest coming up on Saturday, and it's one of the most fun days. If you haven't got yourself a ticket, get one. We will get to the island about 12 o'clock. So it's time to walk across to the lighthouse, to Pinky's. We'll go have lunch there, and it gives people time to go down to the beach and swim if they want. We'll hang out, and then we'll walk back across. Quokka selfies are encouraged, and have a drink at the Rottnest Island Hotel before coming back to Fremantle, where we'll get back about 6:20. And what I love about these events is the focus is on friendship first. Come and meet some new friends, and that's happened at the last few events. Come and enjoy the city that we live in. Rottnest is beautiful, and I pretty much think this one will be the last one we'll run for the year, unless we do a winter getaway to Rottnest. Anyway, I've talked for long enough. I've got speed dating tonight. I'm excited. I've got 46 to 57, and I've got 14 of each. So it should be a fun night. I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow. Enjoy your Wednesday night, whatever you do. Bye.